everybody, it's me, the F-Bomb, and I'm down in Youngstown right now, and I am here to chat with the band Tundra. They are out of Cleveland. They are what's known as a traditional metal band, as informed to me by Nick's father. So this is going to be a good night for you guys, and I really appreciate you coming on. You're my first metal original band to be on the channel, so this is really fun for me
That's awesome.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you both introduce yourself to the audience? So they know.
Sure, I got the mic, I got the power here. My name's Nick Morris. I'm the guitar player in Tundra.
And I am Nick Kelling. I'm the lead vocalist. So
All right.
you deal with the two Nicks.
Yeah, the two Nicks. Nicky. All right. So Blades of Steel, I listened to it on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
And the minute I turned on the first song, Grim Reaper,
Yeah.
I immediately thought of Iron Maiden and Judas Priest. That is like the vibe right out of the gate. You have some Rob Halford. Obviously.
Yeah, Judas Priest is one of my favorite bands. And then Rob Halford is definitely one of my band inspirations. There's a big story behind that song, though, that I think he would be better suited to tell. But it's good to hear that we're kind of obviously moving in that right direction.
Yeah.
That's definitely what we're striving for, and it's what we love to listen to and obviously love to play. So, Grim Reaper.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, so Grim Reaper is actually the first Tundra song that was ever written. And it was like when we were in college, we were just kind of like goofing around in the basement, wanted to play, like we loved 80s heavy metal. And like there were some of these albums that are coming out from like newer bands that were doing older style of heavy metal. And we're like, we want to try to do that. And I was listening to a band called Grim Reaper. They're an 80s British band. A lot. And I was like, why don't we just make a song that's like an homage to Grim Reaper? So we're really trying to like channel that. But absolutely, it's like Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, heavy influence, 80s, British heavy metal, US power metal. That's exactly what we're going for.
Yeah, it definitely comes across.
Yeah.
It comes across that way. So how long has the band actually been together? I think I read right, August of 24 is when that was released.
So August of 24 is when we had our first EP was released around that time. I think we kind of staggered the singles first, and the whole EP was in August. But yeah, we probably started first jamming, I don't know, a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Yeah, our first show was December or January of
23. Oh, actually, wow. So maybe it's actually closer to 2 years. Yeah.
That's pretty. You
Time
guys
flies.
are pretty tight for a relatively new band. I mean, that the work is showing. It's showing itself, not just on the album, but even down in soundcheck. I mean, you guys are obviously very tight band. Sound really good. So, why don't you guys give a little bit of background about Tundra itself? Where did this come from? The ashes of another band, or did you guys just say that this is it? This is where we're at?
Well, yeah, so kind of calling back to like I've been really into these bands that are trying to capture the 80s sound, and like so like we go to this festival every year called Hell's Heroes. It's down in Houston, Texas, and going to see those bands at that festival, and like that there's like younger people listening to this same old school style of metal again. We were really trying to capture that sound, but then the name Tundra actually comes from the band Thor. There's a song called Thunder on the Tundra. We may or may not play it tonight. That's like one of our covers that we do pretty often. So that's kind of the origins. It was basically just like Nick and I grew up on 80s heavy metal, and then
Well, I wasn't even there at that Hell's Heroes.
Well, the first one, yeah.
I was kind of just around, and it was like, and he and I knew each other for a while back, and he had this project that he was wanting to start, and I was just like, hey, I've never been a part of a group. This is my first group I've been part of, so I was like, just give me a shot, and like obviously we have some history together, we have some rapport that I think is good in terms of like stage presence. So it just kind of all the pieces eventually fell together at one point or another. But it all did start at this metal festival down in Texas that is just a mecca of people coming together and really just celebrating traditional metal specifically. But they do have a good spread of other stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
sure.
Yeah. So it was. Like I said, I wasn't there, but
So this
I'm
is
here
your
now.
first band.
Correct, that I've been a part of, yes, officially.
Oh, okay.
I'm more of a karaoke guy myself.
Well,
prior to this, but
you get to practice on that.
100%, yeah.
Just learning mic technique sometimes is what vocalist needs, and that's an easy way to do it.
And there's still a lot of things that I'd like to get better at, but it's been good it's been a good outlet for me to express myself and to kind of have something to do and kind of work towards. So
sure.
It's been good to me.
So in the last year, has there been any notable highlights for the band that's taken place? Anything that really sticks out in your mind that's like, man, that was an awesome lineup or event or gig or anything?
Definitely Blades of Steel. That was huge for us. We we knew about that for a while, and it was like, it was in the back of our minds for quite some time. So we were always kind of like, I think that first year we were always kind of like pushing towards that and really trying to hone ourselves for that specifically. But other than that, I think the first time we actually played here at the West Side Bowl, we had a show in Pittsburgh the next day. So that was kind of cool to get out of state and play with some other groups. We were with, it was Iron Brigade and Legendary.
And then our friends in Emerald Green.
They're also with us, yeah.
They're from Akron.
Akron, they came with us. Deb from Lady Beast was there, which is awesome to have her in attendance. She was really nice. Also very inspirational. I don't know. That's my side of the story.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's tough because I think we've had a lot of great experiences, like getting to know people from out of town, also kind of coming into the Cleveland scene. So like playing Shotgun, like we're great friends with Alethea now. We love them. But then like out of state, I want to shout out my friends in Displacer out of Rochester, New York. Those guys are awesome. But yeah, there's just been so many good shows like Adamantis, Iron Flame, Iron Brigade already mentioned. I'm just kind of trying to off the cuff thinking I'm gonna miss somebody, and if I missed you, I'm sorry. I promise. When we played that show, it was great because I've been really it's been really great. The people that have reached out when they come through Cleveland, they like that we're doing this kind of style and they want to put us on a bill. And then the local support's really been big too. Even Bessemer Saints, who share some members of the Alethea, and Dog Rock. Nick Lewis from Galactic Reptile puts that on a couple times a year. Yeah. Toy Drive.
It's always something
Yeah.
to look forward to.
Yeah, right.
Whether it's local or obviously getting out into this.
So it's all great. I mean, playing a local bar show is awesome. Doing the charity shows is awesome. Playing with touring bands that that we look up to, and we talk about this Hell's Heroes Festival. It's like Adamantis played at Hell's Heroes 2 years ago or whatever, whatever it was. Yeah. So being able to do that, and then building some rapport on the local scene and being friends with all those people has been great too. Yeah.
So from the time you guys have started up until now, what have some of the lessons that you've learned? Can you think of something you're like, oh yeah, I'm not going to do that again, or next time it's going to be this way? Anything you can think of like that?
I think when we were putting out our EP, we were kind of just trying to rush to get something out there, and I'm still really proud of the work we did on that. But yeah, we're I think for the next, and I know you're probably gonna ask about this later, but for our next recordings that we're gonna be doing, we're excited to really hone it in and take our time and get it out there. Yeah, basically just practice and dedication, and we want to bring new music out to everybody, but we also want to make sure it's we're putting out our best foot forward. So
I
don't know if you had anything else you want to add there.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, again, being that this is my first real go at this whole thing, just kind of building myself up as a musician, trying to again hone in on the stage presence, just kind of make myself as big as possible, but also as skilled as possible, so it's a good show. I want to give people what they want and do it well. That's just something that I strive to get towards. And then you brought up is there something that you wish you didn't do? I have a nasty habit of getting feedback from my wedges, so that is definitely something I'm always trying to think about. And if we're lucky, we won't have any issues with that tonight. But it is kind of loud up there, so that's just I sometimes I get a little too low, and just,
right.
It's nasty, but stuff happens. 100%. I seem to be more conscious. Got to step back and pump the brakes. Think about where I'm moving my body. So
Sure.
That's just a silly thing that I thought of.
Has anybody ever given you some sage advice prior to getting into this band, so you could be mentally prepared or just ready to take on the frontman position?
Not that I can think about the top of my head in terms of advice, but I do recall one of our first shows talking with Terry in Alethea. I think he and who he was with, they said they could definitely tell that we were nervous. I was nervous, and just kind of, it's okay to feel that, but at some point you kind of just have to shed that and just let loose and just kind of do what you're there to do.
Yeah.
And I think that I still remember that, and that was I think our first show, our second show, and it's been good to to talk with them later in life, or later, and have him be I can definitely tell that you've been working on this, and you're moving in the right direction, but as always there's always something to work on.
Always.
So and that's, I also think it's important to remember that you're never done, you're never perfect, and but if you can put out a good, a viable product, consistently, I think that's really the name of the game. I think that's what we're striving to do. So,
Agree.
yeah.
And the two of you are obviously in the generation of the internet.
Mhm.
So there's probably really no way to compare what it was prior to, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. There's concert footage and stuff like that. I don't know. It's like you can.
And we talk to like another thing about I'm not going to keep bringing up House Heroes, I promise. But House Heroes, but also like even when like older bands like let me give you an example of the band like Satan is one of my favorite bands from the UK. Like they've also like they played House Heroes or whatever, but they've also like come to like No Class in Cleveland, and it's a really tiny venue. But like so like, after the show, you get to talk to them, and it's really cool. But like they talk to us about like what it's like to play music, and like it's obviously not the same, but there's also like the grind is still there. It's just a different grind, I think. Similar with like Anvil, we were talking like the bassist from Anvil after the show last year when they came through. Yeah, like I think some of those guys have a lot of touring experience and writing a lot of music, and getting that like it's not the same game, but it kind of is, And then also like some of these bands that we've played with like Displacer and stuff, they're a little bit farther ahead in terms of like so like they're a good source too. Like like bands that like are around our age that have also toured or like played more shows or have more material out, gone through it a little bit more. Like they have some good advice too.
And sure.
Yeah.
So listening to your guitar playing, you're quite skilled. When did you start playing?
I started playing guitar. I was 8 years old, I think. I'm 27 now. So, our drummer joined us.
Oh, there's the
Chris.
drummer. There's the drummer. The drummer had
been a while.
his belly full, and that's okay. He's got a lot of work to do.
But no, I started in like 3rd grade, and I've been playing ever since. So yeah, it's been.
So who really turned you on to want to play? I mean, who did you hear that just?
Oh, guitar-wise? Well, so like I don't know. I really was into like at first AC/DC, and that was a very good gateway rock band, right? And then my dad showed me like Dream Theater, like John Petrucci was like that guitar playing is like out of this world, and like really got me interested in the instrument. And then as I got older and progressed, kind of found some of my own stuff, and also getting influenced by my dad and other people like the Scorpions, like Billy John Roth, Michael Schenker. Those guitar players are my favorite. Yngwie Malmsteen. Off the cuff, it's hard to think of every guitar player I like, but those are probably my biggest influences, at least from like an individual guitar player standpoint.
Well, I love that you started young.
Yeah.
I think that we need to encourage more of the younger people.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's a different environment. The landscape has changed quite a bit. When you're looking in the audience, you might get lucky to see some young people. This has been my experience, but a lot of times they're watching from a channel on their internet, as opposed to going. I'm not sure why that is. I don't know if it's just a different social structure that they have or what, but they're missing that live groove,
But it still happens. Like so, Chris actually had a show with his other band, Voices of the Damned, the other day, and there was a little girl with giant earmuffs right in the front row.
Nice.
It was pretty awesome. So yeah.
So introduce yourself there, Chris.
Hi, everybody. I'm Christopher Herbert, drummer. I'm in Tundra and Voices of the Damned, Nightmare Empire, and MEV.
Oh, okay. So you're a busy guy.
I'm very busy.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
So I started my musical journey when I was 4. I saw the debut of Metallica's The Unforgiven on MTV in front of the tube. I was enamored. I was just mesmerized by it. And after that, I always played air drums. 11 years old, I started with trumpet when I went to school. They had a music program there, So I wanted to play snare, but all the snares were taken up, so trumpet, sufficed there. Played guitar for a couple of years, and then when I was 14, I picked up my drum set, and I've been playing it ever since.
Yeah.
And I'm 37 years old.
Oh, so you're the older one of the group.
I am the older one of the group. Yes.
The sage wisdom guy.
Yes. I got to keep these young ones in line.
Right. There's something to be said about those of us that have a little bit of, effort behind us. So let me ask you, how long have you been in the group? Are you an original?
No, I am not an original member. Their last drummer parted ways, and then I was asked by Nick 3 months ago.
Yeah, December, let's say.
I think maybe December.
Actually, yeah.
No. I think it was January, February-ish.
Yeah. Okay.
I told him I had a lot going on at the time, but I said, in April. That's right, April we could start up.
Yeah.
So we did that.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So What have you taken for these last few months? What have you gathered as far as the band is concerned? How do you feel about the efforts and where you're going and what you're doing?
I'm very happy with how things have developed. The efforts are always there. There's always 100% from everybody, and I think it's going to develop into something really good in the future. And I think that we're going to have, some good tunes coming out. We're going to have some good material, and I think our stage show is going to show that.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
You guys are really tight. I was telling the boys early before you showed up. You guys are really tight for having, really a relatively young band.
Yeah.
And that says something about your love for what you're doing at the same
Oh,
time.
I love this. People look at it as kind of like, I gotta go play a show. No, it's like I'm gonna go play a show,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna have fun. I don't care about getting paid. I don't care about that. I just like playing on stage. It's a nice hobby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you always been a metal guy?
Well, yes. I started out Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, Pantera, Judas Priest. I first started off like listening to the Beach Boys with my father, Barbaran and stuff
Sure.
like that. But then I started developing into more of like an eclectic taste, more death metal-ish. I listened to a lot of like Cannibal Corpse, Aborted, Carnifex, Beneath the Massacre, and it just continues to grow.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So what can you tell the audience about getting in touch with you or getting merchandise or buying your music? I'd like to
Sure,
make
absolutely.
Sure they know. Here we
Yeah,
are.
we are Tundra Band CLE on most social media. You can find us on Bandcamp, tundracleveland.bandcamp.com. I'm pretty sure. And then our email, if you would like to book us, tundracleveland@gmail.com, or if you have a show inquiry or you want to, hang out sometime, just let us know. We're pretty active on social media, actually. Yeah, you want to grab a beer? Come to Cleveland, you want to grab a beer? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Come out to a show, actually, and we'll drink a beer at the show. Let's do that. Yeah. But
Well,
yes,
you guys, I really appreciate you taking the time for me. Really
Absolutely.
do. I'm looking forward to catching you guys. I'll get some video footage and some stills.
Cool.
And I'll let you guys get your head right for the show.
Awesome.
And thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Awesome.
Oh, I gotta help.
This is the F-Bomb reminding you that you're never too old for rock and roll. So don't stop rocking, keep on rolling, and join me at the next gig here on Backline EQ.